Her words cut deeper than a blade. She didn't just leave him, she shattered him. And as she walked away, slipping into the sleek black car that had been waiting for her, Jerry finally understood. She was gone, and she wasn't coming back. He stood frozen, eyes locked on the empty road where her car had vanished. The silence screamed louder than his thoughts. Then, his phone buzzed. One new message. Unknown number. Be at Metro Suites Hall by 6 p.m. tomorrow. Wear black and white. You'll be serving drinks. Don't be late. Jerry's brows furrowed. No name, no greeting, no explanation. Just an address. And a job? He stared at the message, confused. But something in his gut whispered, this wasn't just about money. He just didn't know it yet. The next evening, Jerry was serving drinks at an upscale corporate event held at Metro Suites Hall. Dressed in a crisp black vest and bow tie, he moved gracefully between the tables, keeping his eyes low and doing his best to avoid any contact with Agnes, who was seated at a corner table, laughing heartily beside Charles. But then, as he turned to refill a glass, his gaze locked onto someone he never expected to see, Samantha. Samantha had been Jerry's ex, a woman from his past. Back then, she had been an intern at his former company, and she had been deeply in love with him. But he had been committed to Agnes. Seeing her now, Jerry felt ashamed. She was powerful, confident, and, the biggest shock of all, the MD of the oil company where Agnes worked. Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them. Later that evening, she approached him. Jerry, she said softly. He bowed slightly. Ma'am, she chuckled. Don't ma'am me, we go way back, he sighed. Yeah, a long way. I heard what happened. Her gaze softened. You deserve better. Jerry forced a smile. Life happens. She tilted her head. Ever considered working in corporate again? He frowned. Who would hire me? I would. He blinked. What? I need someone I can trust, she said. Someone hardworking. You're overqualified for menial jobs, Jerry. Come work for me. Jerry hesitated, but for the first time in months, hope flickered inside him. Are you sure? She smiled. Absolutely. And just like that, his life turned around. Jerry threw himself into his new role, proving his worth with dedication and intelligence. Samantha admired his work ethic, and over time, something more blossomed between them. Unlike Agnes, Samantha valued his heart over his appearance, his integrity over his bank balance. While Jerry's life was rising to new heights, Agnes's life was taking a dramatic turn for the worse. In just a matter of weeks, Agnes's life had gone from a soaring high to an agonizing fall. It all began with the one thing she had refused to see, the harsh truth about Charles. One morning after a late meeting, Agnes arrived at the office only to be met with a sight that shattered everything. There in the corner of the lounge, Charles was locked in an intimate embrace with a younger woman. A new hire. The kiss they shared was like a cruel reminder of how easily she had been replaced. Her heart pounded in her chest as she approached him, her hands trembling with fury and hurt. How could you? Agnes demanded, her voice breaking. Charles barely lifted his eyes from his new flame. It's over, Agnes, he said with a dismissive shrug. You're just too dramatic, too old-fashioned. I need someone who can keep up, someone who knows how to have fun. He didn't even seem to care about the pain he was causing. Agnes stood frozen, the sting of his words like a slap to her soul. She had been nothing more than a stepping stone for him, a brief distraction. The man she had left everything for was now the one who discarded her without a second thought. Devastated, she threw herself into work, trying to drown out the pain. but the weight of her personal failures was too heavy. Her focus was shattered. She was tasked with preparing the final report on the company's major merger, an opportunity to prove herself after her personal missteps. But the stress clouded her judgment, and in a moment of distraction, she made a costly mistake. Key figures were wrong, numbers that would ultimately tank the entire deal. The consequences were immediate. The project worth millions was delayed indefinitely, and the blame was placed directly on Agnes. Her once promising career now seemed to be in ruins. Samantha, the CEO, called her into the office that afternoon. There was no warmth in her eyes, no sympathy in her voice. "This isn't the first time, Agnes," she said, her words sharp as daggers. "Your personal life is affecting your performance. We can't afford mistakes like this." The meeting ended with Agnes's termination, and just like that, her job, the only thing she had left, slipped away. The weeks that followed were a blur of confusion and regret. Jobless and humiliated, Agnes found herself staring at the empty apartment she once shared with Jerry. Her heart longed for him, but she knew she had destroyed any chance of reconciliation. Desperate, she reached out to Jerry. She stood outside his new apartment, knocking hesitantly. When the door opened, her breath hitched. Jerry stood before her. Not the broken man she had left, but a renewed version of himself. He was still heavier than before, but he carried himself with confidence. And beside him stood Samantha, her hand resting lightly on his arm. Agnes swallowed hard. "Jerry, can we talk?" He looked at her for a long moment before speaking. "There's nothing left to say, Agnes." Tears welled in her eyes. "I made a mistake." Samantha, ever composed, merely watched. Jerry sighed. "I loved you, Agnes, but love isn't about wealth or status. It's about loyalty, commitment, and trust, and you threw that away." Agnes broke down, sobbing. "I have nothing left, Jerry." He stepped back, shaking his head. "That was your choice." As he shut the door, Agnes crumbled to the floor. Inside, Samantha wrapped her arms around him. "Are you okay?" Jerry exhaled. "I am." And for the first time in a long time, he truly was. Thank you for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments. What lessons did you learn? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories. See you in the next one.